When you first started OS, you were told to use the Z and X keys.
You can click with the X and Z keys on your keyboard.
And instinctively, you probably also started using your middle finger and index finger. However, if you look at top players, this clearly isn't the best way to tap. Middle index players do exist, but there's also ring index players, and even thumb index players, and whatever this is. But clearly, a player picks their preferred two fingers and keys and are pretty much locked to those, right? I mean, yeah, in between plays they could choose to change their keybinds, but that just becomes a huge hassle, doesn't it? And if they keep changing keybinds, wouldn't there be situations where they would need to change the keybind mid-play? So in the end, you would think that they're pretty much locked to the two fingers that they choose to play with. So as every OS player eventually does, I tried both middle index and the ring index and found that my raw speed was faster with middle index, but my finger control was far outclassed by my tapping with the ring index. I thought I had to sacrifice either for the other and ultimately chose middle index, but when it came time to learn alts, it all completely fell apart and I hit a roadblock. Except you can actually choose two tapping styles. And for me, this is where laser came in. You can bind two keys onto one input here, meaning that with the right keybinds, I effectively had the option to switch between the two whenever I wanted. And that absolutely changed everything for me. Whenever I wanted to play lower BPM streams or alt maps, I'd use ring index, but if a really fast stream came in, I would just use my middle finger instead of my ring finger. It took me a bit to get used to, but eventually I broke my own skill barriers in tapping on both ends of the spectrum. So I think you should try this too. And yes, I'll explain how to do this on stable as well in just a second. Find the two keys you want to use for middle index and pick the key right next to that for ring index. Then simply bind your index finger to one input while binding the other two to another input. And now you can switch between the two freely. For stable, you'll need to use your keyboard software to remap your middle and ring key to be the same key. And there you go. As a single tapper, this really helped me to learn stream and alt at either speeds, and tapping wise I've become much better since this change, so hopefully you will too. And also as an added bonus, I also had some extra stamina for streams like 200 BPM ones, where I could use both tapping styles. Of course, this method won't instantly make you better at tapping, but it could possibly make that play more that you have to do anyway just a little bit faster. And hopefully, if you're stuck not being able to alt, this could be the thing that lifts that roadblock. And that's basically it for this video. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.